Let's talk because this whole situation is messy, layered, and way more complicated than social media wants it to be. So, recently, millions of pages connected to Jeffrey Epstein were released, what people are calling the Epstein files. And right off the bat, let's be clear, these documents are not one clean list of confirmed crimes or guilty parties. They're a mix of official records, tips, notes, and unverified allegations. Some are real investigations, some are just claims that were logged, and some are names mentioned with no charges, no evidence, and no cases connected to them. But you know how the internet works. Once names start popping up, context goes out the window. Then Lizzo enters the conversation. She made a TikTok basically saying that just because a name is in those files doesn't mean someone is guilty. And honestly, on paper, that's not wrong.
Go into glam. This Epstein file shit, I have to, it's really frustrating to me because there are 3 million files, right? 3 million documents in the files, because over the course of however long this man has been doing these crimes, every email, every text message, everything just in general about this man's life has been put into these files to scan for illegal activities, right? Every text message you sent to somebody, if you stole an apple from Walmart and you were on trial for stealing an apple from Walmart, is every person in your phone an accomplice? Is every person in your phone, is every email you sent to a person or speaking about a person, does that make that person complicit? Does that make that person a bad guy? No, it doesn't. And that's the same thing with the Diddy stuff. That was so, I told y'all, the media is so smart. They're going to make you so distracted with celebrity names that you're not going to focus on the problem. You think every party that Diddy ever threw was a freak off and people were fucking and slipping and sliding on baby oil? No. That man had birthday parties. That man had Easter gatherings. That man had Super Bowl parties. That man had Christmas parties, Halloween parties, regular parties. And so now they're saying Mom Donnie's mom, who's a filmmaker, they're like, oh, she's on the Epstein list because she was on a guest list for Ghislaine Maxwell's like showing of a political film once. Hey, you're distracted. You just want Mom Donnie to be a bad guy or his mom. A girl can go to a movie premiere. You think Ghislaine Maxwell woke up every single day trafficking children? No. We're losing the plot. And it's just like the American people in the comments. I knew she was wrong. Jay-Z, I knew he was. What did it say Jay-Z did? He was there in 1996. Come on, people. Like, y'all are falling for it. It's the easiest, oldest trick in the book. And honestly, I'm losing faith in the average intelligence of the American person. Because, come on. Just because somebody's name is mentioned in a 3 million document file of a person's life who's been lived over crimes who've spanned decades, doesn't mean that every single person is an accomplice. He could be mentioned. He referenced Jay-Z once. He was like, oh, we could learn from Jay-Z's business model. Why are y'all, where's the crime? Focus. Anyways, y'all.
That's just facts. A mention doesn't equal a conviction. But timing matters, messengers matter, and history matters. Because Lizzo isn't speaking from a neutral position right now. She's still dealing with her own legal battles.
Ariana Davis and Noel Rodriguez in Los Angeles Superior Court. In the lawsuit, the trio claimed that they faced weight shaming, sexual harassment, and disability discrimination while working with the Grammy winner. Lizzo previously broke her silence on the allegations, denying the claims in an Instagram message that read in part, "My work ethic, morals, and respectfulness have been questioned. My character has been criticized." She continued, "Usually I choose not to respond to false allegations, but these are as unbelievable as they sound and are too outrageous to not be addressed. These sensationalized stories are coming from former employees who have already publicly admitted that they were told their behavior on tour was inappropriate and unprofessional."
Lawsuits from former dancers and staff accusing her of creating a hostile work environment, sexual harassment, and misconduct.
Well, just moments ago, Lizzo broke her silence on the lawsuit filed against her by 3 of her former dancers who claim they were subjected to a hostile work environment and harassment. The complaint also naming her production company and the captain of her dance team. And it says that the dancers were, quote, exposed to an overtly sexual atmosphere that permeated their workplace, which included outings where nudity and sexuality were a focal point. The suit also alleges, among other things, that Lizzo called out one of the plaintiffs for her weight gain after accusing the dancer of not being committed to her role. Lizzo is known, of course, for her uplifting messages and advocacy for body positivity.
I'm not going to be able to please everybody with my outward appearance. Someone's always going to have a critique. Someone's always going to have some negativity to say about me. So all that matters is what I think about it.
Now, after what had been a notably lengthy silence this morning, Lizzo responded to the lawsuit on Instagram, writing, in part, "These sensationalized stories are coming from former employees who have already publicly admitted that they were told their behavior on tour was inappropriate and unprofessional. I take my music and my performances seriously because at the end of the day, I only want to put out the best art that represents me and my fans. With passion comes hard work and high standards." Joining us now are the 3 dancers, Crystal Williams, Ariana Davis, and Noel Rodriguez, along with their attorney, Ron Zambrano. Crystal, I want to start with you. The response that you have to the response from Lizzo after the silence for a pretty extended period of time.
Yeah, I want to say that reading it just kind of furthered my like disappointment in regards to the situation, just because the facts are the facts. What we experienced and what we witnessed is absolutely what happened. There's nothing sensationalized about it. So all that I can hope is that people focus more so on the facts rather than the court of public opinion.
Ariana, at what point did you realize that what you were experiencing, what you experienced, was not normal?
It's hard to answer that question because as this was my first professional job, I was told by the dance captain and, just it's this thing in the dance industry that you have to, shut up and, take whatever you get and just be grateful for whatever crumbs you get as a dancer. So a lot of things that were going on, it took me a really long time to figure out that it was wrong. It took me actually until leaving the camp that I figured out that everything that went on was bad, because I just chalked it up to, oh, Lizzo might be a diva, or, this is just the industry. This is what we go through. I mean, I think that I had inklings, like I would be on the phone with my mom all day and be like just complaining about the disrespect and the treatment and the humiliation. I mean, me personally, looking at the response from Lizzo was so disheartening, because she was there. She was there, and to fix your hand to write on a piece of paper that you that you discredit everything we're saying is incredibly frustrating. The facts are the facts, like Crystal said. Was I pressured to touch a new performer? Yes. Was I brought into a private meeting where I was kind of interrogated about my personal matters and ended up having to share very personal things about myself regarding my weight? Yes. The list goes on. Were we pressured to do an excruciatingly long rehearsal that turned into a re-audition for the job that we already booked? because apparently we weren't doing good enough. Yes, that is true. During that excruciatingly long re-audition process, was I under the impression that if I left the stage, I would be fired? Yes. Did I unfortunately go to the bathroom on myself on stage because I was so terrified? Yes. There is, in a court of law, I don't know, I'm not a lawyer, I don't know anything, but I know that if you ask someone to tell the truth, these things will come out of her mouth. If you have to say yes or no to these questions, she has to say yes because they are true. There was multiple witnesses, and I don't appreciate the discredit of our feelings and our experiences and our traumas.
Understood. Joelle, you allege that Lizzo intended to hit you at one point after you. Sorry, Noelle, intended to hit you at one point after you resigned. Do you really think that she was going to resort or could resort to physical violence?
Yeah, I do. And I mean, the facts of that were that she actually balled up her fist like this to me. She started cracking her knuckles, and she was like, "You're so effing lucky that basically I'm not gonna hit you." And, you know, I was in shock watching her do that and cracking her knuckles and acting as if she was gonna come at me. And for a second I was like, you know, I don't think she's gonna do that. Like, that's not what's gonna happen. But the fact that one of her dancers, all of us were present, all the dancers were present for mostly all of these allegations. And in that meeting that we had where she got physical and was about to assault me, her best friend, who's also one of the dancers, had to jump out of the couch and physically hold her back from coming and hitting me. So yes, I do believe that if she wasn't held back by that dancer, she would have hit me.
What you described there's clearly, not only you believe you have witnesses, but potentially you have other people that would want to be party to a lawsuit like this or experience similar things. And I guess to some degree, I would direct that your way, Ron, in terms of, do you believe more people will join? Do you believe that there are other individuals who worked with these three women who experienced the same things that would like to join this lawsuit or sue on their own account in the future?
100%. People have already come on social media to support our clients. People have already reached out to my office through social media. 100%, I believe more people will come forward, if not here where we are in Los Angeles, but in New York, and we've received other calls and inquiries from around the nation.
Okay. Crystal Williams, Ariana Davis, Noelle Rodriguez, and Ron Zambrano, thank you guys for sharing your story.
As a fashion designer and artist, I'm really big on Black female identity. So everything that I do has a deeper meaning to it, and it's seen in the collections that I create.
Asha Daniels is a fashion designer with a passion for making inclusive clothing. Now she's coming forward as a new accuser with her own story about working as part of Lizzo's The Special Tour.
As a Black woman in the industry, whenever I kind of suffer an abuse or a injustice, I've kind of taken it on the chin and kind of just gone back to work.
While she never interacted with the star directly, she's accusing the star's team of racial and sexual harassment.
I'm coming into work with someone who has physically assaulted me, with someone who's threatened me, someone who is not allowing me to go eat when I need to eat.
I think it's extremely damaging in the court of public opinion because of the image that we've all believed Lizzo to be.
Daniel's complaints are part of a growing list of legal actions mounting against the pop star. Back in July, 3 dancers filed a lawsuit against the singer and her production company, alleging sexual and racial harassment, even assault, plus creating a hostile work environment. Lizzo is denying it all, defiant for all to see. From shopping sprees in Beverly Hills to popping up at Beyonce's show in LA. For years, Lizzo has been known for promoting body positivity and self-love. With songs like About Damn Time.
I think vulnerability is sexy. I think vulnerability is extremely powerful. That's why, you know, you see me in my most vulnerable state.
I was already a fan of her message about love, about women's empowerment, about Black women's empowerment. And so I was really excited to get to design for this world stage where such a beautiful message was going to be delivered every night.
I decided to go with this white lace.
Daniels had already proven her chops on Project Runway.
Seeing my look come down the runway, I am like, yes, God, honey. Gorgeous.
Later, starting her own line.
You look beautiful.
And eventually finding her way to Lizzo's tour in February.
I feel very pretty.
But within her first few days on the job, Daniel says things weren't quite as beautiful as she'd hoped. In particular with Amanda Nomura, a supervising agent for Lizzo. She says she was helping her move a clothing rack when things started to go awry.
She rolls over my foot with this really heavy rack. And so I kind of like wince and I'm like, wait a minute, my foot is really hurting. Like, I need to stop, I need to sit down. And so she pushes me into the rack and she says, don't make excuses, like take this rack.
According to the claims in the lawsuit, Daniels claims due to being shoved, she lost her balance and rolled her ankle, which led her to wearing more comfortable shoes the next day to minimize the pain. She alleges Nomura demanded that she change into tennis shoes.
And so I'm stunned because I've never had anyone put their hands on me, especially in a workplace, and of all places on tour with Lizzo. The only thing that's different between how she interacted with me and how I saw her interact with other people is that I was a Black woman, and she felt like she could get away with treating me that way.
But Daniel says Nomura wasn't the only staff member who was unprofessional. She says the tour was an overly sexual workplace, pointing to one alleged incident in a team group chat with Lizzo staffers.
You say in the lawsuit that there was a group chat with nearly 36 people, more than 30 people, and there were times that what was discussed made you uncomfortable.
There is a picture that was sent to all 30 plus of us of a porn star who was erect and his genitalia was out. Management was in that group chat as well. Nobody reprimanded the person who sent it.
Daniel says she was inspired by the 3 young dancers who were also suing Lizzo to tell her own story about working for the star.
When I saw them speak up, I thought that's what strong looks like. And I was really proud of them because I knew how toxic the work culture was on that tour firsthand.
The 2 lawsuits are now renewing scrutiny about Lizzo. We reached out to Lizzo and her attorney to sit down with us. They declined. Daniels claims she heard a senior staffer on Lizzo's team mocking the girls and even Lizzo herself in a racist way.
You say that Amanda would allegedly mock Lizzo.
Yeah, Amanda would regularly mock both Lizzo and the big girls, and she would refer to them as fat or just like a bevy of like really inappropriate things, useless, lazy. And I told her like, this is actually really offensive, and you know, she just laughed it off.
Most of your allegations are against Amanda Nomura. What about Lizzo herself? Since you never interacted with her, how much responsibility do you think she has in all of this?
I'm a business owner myself, and I was so shocked that Lizzo's workplace wasn't in line with who we know as the star Lizzo. So I can say in my own life, I'm responsible for the people who work for me and who work on my projects, and I think that everybody is.
Asha was let go by Lizzo's tour manager just a few weeks after joining the team. We reached out to Amanda Nomura for comment. She didn't respond.
I think being famous puts a target on your back, but I think anyone who's known online, if there's a parasocial relationship that someone has with the public, there's always a risk of something happening.
Lizzo recently received a humanitarian award from the Black Music Action Coalition, where some of her dancers introduced her, talking about her positive impact on them.
For a lot of us, you know, she was the first person to ever believe in us and actually just like show us love and believe in our talent and our craft, and we thank you so much for that. Thank you so much.
The singer later said in her acceptance speech,
"And I'm going to continue to put on and represent and create safe spaces for Black, fat women."
On the day that Lizzo received that award, a spokesperson for Lizzo sent Impact a statement saying in part that Asha Daniels' lawyer tries to sully this honor by recruiting someone to file a bogus, absurd publicity stunt lawsuit who, wait for it, never actually met or even spoke with Lizzo. We will pay this as much attention as it deserves. None.
Would you ever go on tour with another artist?
Absolutely never.
Really?
Yeah. I want a world where Black women can come and perform at the height of their career for their talent and not suffer these abuses and not be silenced and not be treated unfairly.
Our thanks to Janae. For more, the full episode of Lizzo's Legal Limbo is now streaming on Hulu.
Now, to be fair, she did recently win a major legal victory. A judge dismissed the fat-shaming portion of one lawsuit after evidence showed the claim didn't hold up.
The last year and a half, I needed time to process and grow as a person.
Lizzo details being deeply hurt in response to a lawsuit filed by her former backup dancers. The singer opens up about the suit in detail for the first time during a December 19th episode of Keke Palmer's podcast, addressing the lawsuit filed in 2023 by 3 former backup dancers who accused her of creating a hostile work environment, explaining she was blindsided by the suit.
I was literally living in my dream, and then the tour ended, and 3 ex-dancers just completely blindsided me with a lawsuit.
So let's talk about that so I can get the exact facts right before we get into it. It's 2023. They come with a lawsuit, and there's a bunch of different claims about harassment, assault. Were you surprised? Did you know about it beforehand, that it was coming before we saw it hit the net? Or was it a complete blindside situation?
I was completely surprised.
Really?
I was very deeply hurt because, these were 3 ex-dancers, so they weren't on the tour. They didn't finish the tour out with us. But even regardless of that, these were people that I gave opportunities to. These were people that I liked them and appreciated them as dancers, respected them as dancers. So I was like, what? But then I heard all the other things like sexual harassment, and I was like, they're trying, I don't know what they're trying to do, but these are the types of things that the media can turn into something that it's not.
The Grammy winner also says she's been dismissed from the lawsuit.
All of this came literally out of nowhere. And you can ask me anything about it because I got dismissed from the case.
Yeah, that's a big weight off your shoulders, I'm sure.
Yes, and we're continuing to fight the other claims until they're all dismissed, and not dropped, dismissed, which means a judge saw this, and in the court of law, he looked at the evidence and said, okay, we can't allow this to go through because the evidence was evidencing against the claims.
However, the former backup dancer's attorney, Ron Zambrano, responds to Lizzo's new comments in a statement obtained by E! News, saying Lizzo remains a defendant in the harassment lawsuit, adding that the suit is currently being reviewed by the Court of Appeals. The attorney adds, "We stand by the claims in the lawsuit and are prepared to prove everything in court, with Lizzo on the stand under oath before a jury of her peers, not spouting nonsense and lies, rationalizing a failure to take accountability on a podcast." E! News has reached out to Lizzo's rep in response, but has not yet heard back. In August of 2023, E! News obtained a complaint filed by Lizzo's former dancers, Crystal Williams, Ariana Davis.
That's real. That's a win. But not all the cases are gone. Some of the most serious allegations are still active, still moving through the legal system, and still unresolved. When Lizzo speaks up to defend contacts and powerful celebrities connected, even loosely, to something as dark as the Epstein case, people aren't just hearing the words. They're hearing her history, they're hearing her headlines, they're hearing her lawsuits. And that changes how the message lands. Because right now, the public is in a space where trust is fragile, patience is thin, and accountability is demanded loudly. People don't want technical truth, they want moral clarity. So even if Lizzo's point about context is valid, it's not being received as neutral education. It's being read as defense, alignment, and protection of power. And that's why the backlash happened so fast. This moment isn't really about Lizzo. It's not really about TikTok. It's not even really about one comment. It's about a bigger reality. Public figures don't get to separate their voice from their reputation. You can't speak on justice while your own accountability is unresolved. You can't call for nuance and chaos when people are drowning in distrust. And right now, anybody defending celebrities named in anything tied to Epstein, even if indirectly, is going to get side-eyed hard, because we're living in a time where people are tired of systems protecting power, tired of silence, tired of let's wait and see when trauma is involved, tired of watching truth get buried under PR language. So what we're seeing isn't just backlash, it's fatigue. It's distrust. It's people saying we want accountability more than explanations. This whole situation shows us something real. You can't be right in theory and wrong in timing. You can speak facts and still miss the moment. You could tell the truth and still not be trusted. And sometimes the message isn't wrong. The messenger just isn't positioned to carry it. That's the conversation, that's the reality, and that's the space we're in right now.